Good evening,
Hello.
sister. Man, what's going on?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't understand what's going on. I've tried all these different devices. It's just not
Yeah,
working for some reason.
yeah. But we're able to get you in through the phone, man. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And if you guys can do me a favor in the chat, if you can hear Jasmine, please put a one in the chat. I'll greatly appreciate it. Please put a one in the chat if you're able to hear her voice. I want to make sure that she's coming in loud and clear because I know she has a lot of amazing things to share with those of you guys out there on YouTube. Yep, they can hear you in the chat. All right. So we're
Okay,
good to
perfect.
go, man. So without any delay, let's get into this. All right. Uh,
Okay.
you've had the opportunity to be on some really big YouTube spaces out there, and I had a
Mhm.
chance to. That's how I came to know about you and your platform and the message you're putting out there. Right. So
Mhm.
before we get into that, so that people get a little bit of a background of who you are, right? Tell us a little bit about you and your family.
Yeah, well, I am 31 years old. I've been married to my husband since I was 24. We have eight beautiful children. I just had my last one 3 months ago. Hopefully, this will be the last one. Um,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I homeschool, and I come from a single mother home,
Hmm.
so I didn't know how to be a wife. I
Hmm.
was not taught, and it was a struggle in the beginning. I still have my struggles. I'm not perfect. I still have issues that I work through, but as I'm learning, um, I just felt the unction to share this with people because I'm gaining so much wisdom from failing, from
Hmm.
falling so many times and getting back up. So,
Hmm.
so with that wisdom, I developed into just posting a lot on Facebook, or me and my husband would go live on Facebook and stuff like that. And it seemed like people were really engaging and liking what we were doing. So, and we've been told we need to start a YouTube for years. And I finally said, forget it, let's do it. So that's where we are now in life. And I'm still learning. And as I learn, I'm just trying to share that wisdom with others.
Yeah, that's good. I think and your voice is needed. And congratulations on the new baby. I know you took a little bit of a break so that you can, focus on the being a mom to the newborn. So congratulations to you and your husband on the
Thank
addition
you.
to your family. Yeah. So and tell me a little bit about how you were able to grab the ear of some of the more bigger platforms that you had a chance to be on.
Well, actually, the crazy thing, I'm gonna give it all credit to God because
Amen.
all I have been doing is commenting on people's posts, engaging, talking to people, giving wisdom because it's not about a following to me. It's about just sharing the knowledge and helping people.
Yeah.
So I would get in the comments, and Ali Drummond,
Hmm.
I'm assuming that's where you found me on.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Yep.
Yeah, Fem Sapien.
Hmm.
She seen one of my comments, and she seen that it was, people was really feeling it, and it was a lot of conversation coming from it. And she was like, "Hey, would you like to be on my show?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then it went from there.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah. And from there, you've had a chance to really um, speak in a space that that's very polarizing, very polarizing. I tend to be called like I don't take a hard stance on any one particular side. I try to call it down the middle. If there's issues with, I speak primarily to men, but if there's issue with women, I'll call it out. Issues with men, I call it out. And you've had this amazing ability to speak to issues pertaining to women, and I'll say it like this: some of the delusions they have in approaching relationships. Right? What motivated you to get into this space?
um, the biggest motivation, honestly, was my husband
Mm,
because people would say you should do a YouTube. You should do YouTube. But I wasn't really into it. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe. And it was more so going to be just focused on, displaying my family and just being a light in that way. But the more that my husband stepped out, he kind of brought me along with him because he's in the forefront in ways.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Hey, let's do this live together. You have something that you could share as well." And so I would get on because I was terrified, like speaking to people in a group, in front of people.
Mhm.
That I was terrified of that. I didn't want to do that. I'm not the smartest, most intellectual person, so I'm like, I was hard on myself. But him being by my side and I started off with him there. And that made me feel much better. And it was just like God was conditioning me and through my husband. So I would get on Facebook with him or go live with him or whatever. And then eventually it only made sense for me to go ahead and just make the YouTube channel. Now I started it, stopped it, started it, stopped it, started it.
Yeah.
So I was always having babies back to back to back. So a lot of things was happening in my life, but I'm at the point now where I'm more focused and excited about what the future holds when it comes to YouTube.
Amen. And hearing you talk about your husband the way you do, it sounds like you have a great level of respect for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
And on the flip side to that, I'm sure he gives you the love that you need in a marriage. Can you describe that and how that looks for you guys? Because now here's the thing, you talked about not being raised in a single parent home, and was that with your mom primarily?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you didn't get a chance, and if I'm wrong, you could let me know. You didn't get a chance to see that relationship dynamic happen in your home.
Absolutely.
So without having that that knowledge, right? Or that having seen that, being exposed to that, how did you guys come to the place now where you guys can freely receive and give what each other needs in the marriage, where you can give your husband the respect that he needs and he can give you the love that you need?
Wow. Well, the first and foremost, I was raised in a southern state. I was raised in Florida. So although I didn't quite see it with my mother, I've seen other families. I didn't know the dynamic though, but I did see other families that kind of planted the seed. But what really made this happen and me get to the level that I am now is my desire to want to be with my husband. And he was straight to the point, like very honest. When I first met him, I felt like he was too honest. I even told him like, yo, you're a little too honest. Yeah. And it was cold, hard truths that I needed to hear that I didn't know. I didn't know men thought this way. And he would just give me game. He would really just be my best friend and tell me why men may treat you like this and this and this. Why when you move this way, men assume that you are easy or whatever. Like he gave me a lot of wisdom through dating him. And after a while, I was like, okay, this guy, I could follow him to the ends of the world with a blindfold, long as I know he's leading me, because I respected the wisdom that he would give me, because I would see that the solutions and resolutions that he would give me was working in my life.
Wow.
It was evident. So I was like, okay, I'll do anything for this guy. And not to mention I was a single mother, and I had just recognized that men don't really take single moms seriously. I had just got out of a relationship where a dude was like, heck no, I can't be a stepdad. And it really dawned on me. And I'm like, I am a single mom. I didn't realize that does, bring baggage that lowers my value in the dating market. And after I realized that, and then I met my husband, and I just thought I still think he's the best man I've ever met. So I'm like, he sees something in me, so why not work with him? I used to think he was what do you call, hard to deal with. Other women don't have to deal with this. I had that mindset for a while. It took a lot of falling, like I said in the beginning of the show. I failed a lot, and I had to understand and learn what it was that a man needs in order to keep a family together. And then once we started having children, it was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. We are going to make sure this works. So it was just that commitment, I guess. Yeah. And then, of course, my husband's patience. If it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for his wisdom that he was giving me, if it wasn't for him telling me no sometimes, he fathered me.
Oh, man. Oh, man. So he told you no.
Yeah.
And you were good? You were good? You were like...
Right. I'm used to, I was, young, beautiful and all this, and I could get what I want if I wanted, but with him, it was just, no, you either hit the highway or you get on my program, and that's it. And I think, and it's hard not to respect that.
But that also shows that the perspective he had about getting into a relationship. So he's looking for somebody that he can give love to. Part of that love, like, because here's the thing about men really want to be able to love their women, right? But part of that love, and some women don't understand this, part of that love is providing security. In that security, there's a level of protection that some women may not fully understand right away. That protection that they fully don't understand right away. And you were able to, after falling a couple of times, see, he's telling me all this stuff because he loves me and he wants the best for me. He's telling me all these things and giving me this game because he loves me, right? He loves me in return. Right. In return, I'm able to follow him and then give him that respect that he deserves because he's shown that to me, right? That's actually that's actually good. And this is something that I think the men who are watching this channel should really listen to, right? Because in this space, and I'll say it like this, in this space, because it's so polarizing, you have the modern women who want to be able to receive all of the best benefits without giving any of the work in a relationship, right? And then you have the men who demand submission from a woman without giving that security and love that they need. And it sounds like your husband was in a place to show you, I'm willing to provide all these things, but I don't care how beautiful you are. You can be as beautiful as you want. The fact of the matter is, there's a lot of beautiful women out there that's not getting the love that they want from a man because, that woman's not offering anything to them. So they'll use up beautiful women all the time, right? And you having him in your life, getting hit to the game, right, was actually a good thing that he did in the marriage, because again, it allowed for there to be that love and respect exchange, right? So how did you respond to that with your husband, and how long did it take for you to really get what he was doing?
At first, I did think it was attractive when we would date, and he would be very honest. It was like, I feel like I can trust him, even though it may hurt my ego sometimes, or it may bother me, or my pride will get in the way. But at the end of the day, I was like, I think I like this though, because right. I don't know. It's just, I think it's just a woman thing. We actually like men to be authoritative deep down.
Yeah.
But anyways, but throughout the marriage though, I did have many times where I was like, well, if you yelled at me, I can yell back. Or if you cuss or said a bad word to me, I should be able to cuss and say a bad word to you. It was always this equal mentality that I get to do what you do, and if I feel disrespected, I get to disrespect you.
Yeah.
And that is where we really knocked heads, and he was like, that's not gonna work, it's never gonna happen. You're not, it don't matter if I'm wrong, if you snap back on me like that, I'm right, period. You know, I don't even hear you anymore. I want, you know, it and I recognize that through loving him despite his flaws is what made him that much more softer towards me.
Wow. So with that, right? And Chris Terry has a question. He asks, what would you say a man need?
What would I say a man needs?
Yeah. And I think
what,
and I think how that story you just gave, that explanation sort of segues into this, right? Because it sounds like you met him in certain scenarios where he needed to be met in order for him to give you the love that you needed. So like, what do you think men need? Like, what are their needs, major needs?
Okay. The first number one thing a man needs is respect. That is at the top of the list. And then I believe sex is next. And then after that, every man may desire different things. But I think for the majority of men, respect is at the top and then sex.
Yeah. That's good. And there's another question from Chelsea. She asks, what skills did you possess prior to becoming a wife that helped you fulfill that role properly?
Could you repeat that?
So what skills did you possess prior to becoming a wife that helped you fulfill that role properly?
Oh, I guess what my husband has brought to my attention is the fact that I was a mom. I already knew how to nurture. I already knew how to, make a home peaceful. I already knew how to cook and make sure that dinner was ready for the kids, because that's just what. Right. Yeah, so I think that definitely drew his attention. I remember I went to visit him because he had moved to a different state. And when I came over, he didn't have any groceries and we were always eating out. And I was like, can you please take me to the grocery store so we don't have to go out to eat all the time?
Man, let me make you a care package. Like, let me get you something.
Yeah, so we go to the grocery store. I cook for him, and he told me later on in life that he called his mom and asked her, should he be worried this girl is in here cooking for him? So I think those little things, just taking care of him as if you plan on being his wife.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women hold back and like, I'm not doing all that extra stuff.
Yeah.
If you really want a man and want to satisfy a man, your best bet is to treat him like the husband that you want him to be.
Yeah. I have one other question. All right. Well, actually, no. Let's hang out there real quick. So how does that look? Because I know there are certain things. And this on the channel, I tell young ladies, right, that before you get married, you have to know what it means to be a wife. But there are certain benefits that a man should not get until they become your husband. How were you able to draw that line between?
See, what I believe is, and this is a new thing for me. I've heard a couple of people say it, and it really changed my mind on it. Yeah. I don't believe if you're dating intentionally, you should not be actually dating. This should be a courtship.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
So if he's courting you to be your husband, you need to show him what it looks like to be his wife. Now, when it comes to sex and things of that nature, of course, if you are a believer and you want to hold on more, morally, fine, I get that. But he still needs to see that you are willing to be led by him.
Yeah.
You can't just switch that on when you're there. And what does that look like? If you go over to his house, cook for him. If you see something that needs to be picked up, pick it up. If If you see he's had a stressful day, rub his shoulders, encourage him, do the things that a wife would do in those scenarios.
That's dope. I agree 100%. Chavis in the chat has a question. He wants to know, what is the biggest threat to a successful marriage?
The biggest threat is using sex as a weapon or withholding it.
Can you say that one more time for the ladies in the back, just so they can hear that?
Using sex as a weapon or withholding it.
So now I'll ask this, right? Because I've heard this said before. What if she just doesn't feel like she's in the mood at the moment? Because you know how men, and this is where it comes to the needs, right? Men are able to connect physically and intimately with their wives. And despite having, you know, had a major blowout argument 5 minutes ago, but women cannot, right? Like how do you reason that?
How do you, okay, the way that I reason with that, if you, for one, you know you're not going anywhere, right? So if you're not trying to separate or divorce your husband because of a blow up, sex actually brings y'all closer together, and forgiveness can be that much more quicker. So that's how I see it. If you, it's a mindset thing. It's like, all right, let's forget what just happened. Take care of his needs, because aren't you still going to cook dinner that night? Right. Or are you not going to do that?
Yeah.
You know, life still goes on, and understand that, yes, we both were emotional, but this is still a duty, and it should be a joy, because at the end of the day, at least he's not leaving the house because he's angry at you to go get a drink and get tempted by someone. He's at home with you instead, and he wants to relieve the stress instead of going, you know, and you don't know where he's at or who he's talking to. He's with you. So you should be happy and honored that he still wants to lay with you, even though y'all are mad at each other. And
that's a huge mindset shift, because I don't know if I've ever heard it that way, right? Where like everything is about perspective, right? How you view the world will determine how you react to things, right? So you're in a situation where, and ladies, just hear me out on this. You're in a situation where a wife and husband are having an argument, right? And they stop talking, right? And the husband really wants to connect intimately with his spouse, right? Having the perspective of, well, this is my husband who, despite us having an issue right now, wants to connect with me. You know, I should value that. That perspective would actually help bring closeness in a marriage. I'm going to do a little bit more research on that, but that's a really good perspective to have in regards to understanding the dynamic of sex in a marriage. Because when you do it,
and if you really,
go ahead.
And if you really think about it scientifically, endorphins are released, oxytocin is released, and that's what the medical field calls the love hormone. And then that will probably make the stress gone and you that much more willing to forgive.
Yeah. Wow. and that's true, because you know how I don't curse on my channel, but there's this saying how some women go through crazy things with men that they're with in the dating stages because they've been eggplantomized. I don't want to say the word but they've been mesmerized by their intimate encounters with their man, that they just ignore all the nonsense and the toxicity that may be happening in a relationship. And that explains that portion of it where scientifically the endorphins are released, and they'll overlook certain toxic traits in somebody because of that. But then in the marriage, the flip side to that is this: when the endorphins are released, right, it could probably help a couple overcome that situation better, right? Exactly. And ladies, let me give you, I'm gonna give you guys some game, okay? All right, you ready for this? I'm gonna give you guys some game. Okay, here we go. A man is at his most lovingly vulnerable moment after he releases. So if you really want to solve a problem, you may want to have some intimate moments with your husband in the heat of passion and arguing. And then after all that release has happened, then have a loving conversation about what issues you guys. That could be an option in many marriages to help bring people together. What do you think? I don't know. Like I'm gonna start recommending that.
Yeah, honestly, like women have the hardest thing for women, and I can attest to it, is admitting when you're wrong.
Yeah.
But after doing something like that, you will feel safe to admit that you were wrong if you were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's definitely could be used as a tool if you properly use it and don't create it to be a manipulating way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So using sex in a marriage as a weapon, definitely. And the thing is, and here's the thing: men can do that too. Men do that by going outside and going outside of the marriage to do that. But it seems like women have the power within a marriage to withhold sex because they realize their husbands really want and need that from them, and they'll withhold that to get what they want. Some people will call that like sort of like witchcraft and stuff like that, or manipulation. And that's one of the highest forms of manipulation within a marriage. That's something that people really need to be careful of. So that's a very, very good perspective, and I appreciate you sharing that, because you don't hear that from coming from women, because most times you'll hear he needs to get it right first before he gets what I can give him. And that can cause even more separation within a marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't fix anything. It emasculates your man. And that doesn't, when you emasculate a man, that doesn't produce a good man.
Yeah. Very true. Couples have, somebody commented, my sister No Salt, good sister, says couples will have disagreements and blow-ups. If that's a situation, who would risk a marriage due to a disagreement? Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Somebody commented, the lack of consensual relationships between spouses leaves a crack or a wide open door for the devil. I don't condone adultery, for the record. I'm just going off of 1 Corinthians 7. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a good point too. So let's go back to the love and respect within a marriage, right? How, and I'm going to ask you to speak from as if you was like a lady talking to like a younger sister that's getting married, right? We're living in a time where many people are born in single parent homes, or to parents who aren't married. They're living just really divided, so they don't have the examples in the house to show them how a functional marriage should operate. What advice would you give a young lady in regards to doing the work to show her husband respect within a marriage?
The first thing that I always go to is humility. I think we need to get back to understanding that we are the weaker vessel, and that's okay. And that we need our men. It's not a matter of I want him. You have to understand you need him in order to really be successful in life in general. So, because there's a covering that you need as a woman. And I think a lot of times once a woman recognizes the actual need for a man, it makes it more easier to respect him and honor him. And if you are a Christian, the biggest thing that helped me was praying, Lord, please help me see my husband the way that you see him. Help me to see him the way that I'm supposed to see him. And and as time goes, if you trust in the Lord, he will do that. He honors marriage, and that respect and honor will grow. And a lot of people will say, oh, when people try to change, they get annoyed that it looks like they're faking. And honestly, you can't be mad at them. They have to start somewhere. You have to allow them to get in the habit of doing things. If you're not normally able to do this, yes, you do have to fight and bite your tongue or count to 5 or say whatever mean thought in your head instead of saying it out loud. Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do have to fake it until you make it. And as you fake it, you have to try to change your mindset and correct the fact that I even thought that. Once you start changing, because like your mind is powerful. Once you start changing your mind on the way you see things and seeing things from a different perspective, I am weaker. I am delicate. I am precious. That's why I need this man. That's why God made me this way. It's powerful what I can do with this femininity. It's powerful. I can make a man great. I can inspire him. I can lead his legacy with his children. You have to change your mindset and recognize that it's beautiful, the polarity. And once you change that mindset, that is when you can actually really just be a respectful woman.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side, like as a wife, right, who receives love from her husband, right? What I'm trying to phrase this correctly. If you was talking to a young man, right? Like, do you have sons?
Yes.
Yeah. So your son is about to get married, right?
Four of them.
4 of them. 4 of them. If you so you have 4 boys and 4 girls.
Yep.
Wow. Like even right down the middle. So if you have a son, what would you tell him that would encourage him to because some women may need that love that your husband gave. And I know that you having your husband there is a good example for your boys to follow, right? But how, just to put it into context, right? How would you explain to your sons the type of love that your husband gives and how it makes you feel and what you're willing to do for your husband?
That's a great question. I don't think I've ever thought about that.
Yeah, with the focus on, because the beautiful thing about having a husband is that they can watch and men, young boys grow up and they mimic the men around them. So they'll mimic that. But here's what the thing may happen. They may grow up doing things not understanding the power of their actions in the marriage. Right. But you're able to now experience it. Now, for most men are purpose driven, right? They will do things because they know it has a specific outcome. The love that your husband gives you provides a specific outcome for you. How would you communicate to your sons how his love for you gives that specific outcome?
Okay, well, I do that pretty much daily. Like when, say for instance, Dad brought home something or I went to the grocery store and I brought home their favorite snacks and they're like, ooh, Mommy got this, Mommy got that. And I'm like, no, Daddy got that. Mommy went to the store to get it, but Daddy bought that with his money. And I would show them how grateful I am that Daddy gave me the money to go get us our favorite snacks. It's more so by example because I trust that my husband is going to teach my sons and have those conversations with them. I more so focus on my girls and teaching them how to be wise. But I do show them my appreciation to my husband and the way that he loves me by just my example, what I do for my husband. And I sometimes explain to them why. Like, for instance, when my husband, sometimes we do the carnivore diet and I'll be cooking a big old nice steak and they're like, that looks so good. I want that. And I'm like, no, this is for daddy. He worked hard and we're going to feed daddy because he deserves it. And they're like, okay, instead of them being upset that they don't get none, they get the burgers I made instead. You know, so I believe those examples show them like, okay, I want to be like daddy one day and get my wife to make me that juicy steak.
Yeah.
So let me do, she said because he's been working hard.
And so, and what I love about like your relationship dynamic and how you're describing it shows the cyclical nature of love and respect within a marriage. It shows it. It shows what's happening. And I think more examples like that needs to be seen. In today's world, we're living in a world right now where social media is the place where we mostly get our information from. And because of that, and because how the algorithm works, people who speak negatively about relationships or about the other gender tend to have more of a reach because more people want to watch that kind of stuff, right? And so in this modern time, we have modern men and modern women who fail miserably at that. So they complain about modern women and them not wanting to submit. And then women are complaining about modern men being all dogs and they're good for nothing and stuff like that. And it's probably because both sides cannot understand really what the other want and need within the relationship. And
absolutely.
Love and respect, right? Love, respect. Or the roles are being reversed. Some men just now want to be so loved, right? And then they get disrespected and then they don't like being in a relationship because they're loved, but they're not respected. And then some women want to demand respect, but they're craving love. You know, I want love, and then their relationships fail because they're playing the role that they're not supposed to be playing in a relationship, right?
Right.
You have been in a space now and have had conversations with a few of those who have those polarizing views, right?
Right.
How do you approach conversations like that?
It honestly, it depends on, I guess I would say the mood I'm in, but I'm gonna blame it on the spirit of God.
All right, let's do that.
Because sometimes it depends on the girl. Like if the girl is having these issues and they're expressing it, I'll sometimes check them like auntie would. And like, you really need this, and this. And that doesn't always go well, but I put the seed in. But then there are times when where you could tell that the girl just don't understand. Let me just express to them why it is this way and why your man may feel this way. And you may be able to get better results if you did it this way. And
you've been on Lapeef Let's Talk, right?
On a Mirror show.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So it seems like the responses I get are from everywhere. Like, especially from the women, they usually don't want to hear it. They usually don't want to hear it. But they, then you get the name calling and you pick me and all this other stuff. So it sometimes it feels like it's in vain, but just knowing that it was out there and I put it out in the airwave, somebody is listening. Someone seen that comment. Someone watched the video. So yeah.
All right. I know it's getting late. I know you have kids and I don't want to stay on too long. But I do appreciate us having this conversation. I know it's something that we've been trying to get to have done for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
And I know because we right before you gave birth, we talked and you said you were going to take a little break. I was like, yeah, definitely do that. And then we got a chance to do it tonight. Well, 2 weeks ago, and it fell through. And then we got a chance to do it tonight. And then the technology is breaking down.
Right?
Yeah, man.
It's
But
crazy.
yeah, we got backups upon backups. So I'm glad that you were able to call in. And
Hmm.
although my Harrison family, my Harrison extended family weren't able to see you, they were able to hear all the gems you were able to drop today. So I really appreciate it. And I want to thank your husband. I'm not sure if he's watching, but for allowing us to have this time with you as well. And I would love to have a conversation with him because you guys do things outside of relationship space. I know you're active with the Brexit movement as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. So we don't talk too much about politics here, but like you guys are doing a whole lot of things out there in the community, especially
Mm.
for those young men and women of color. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. Really, and just
Absolutely.
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say thank you so much for having me on. I really respect your show. Like this was a powerful conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And hopefully we could do this
Mhm.
again with all the technology working. And in fact, maybe I can you could talk to your husband. I'll reach out to him and maybe have you both on to have a
Okay.
real, in-depth conversation about how the relationship dynamics have worked in your marriage and how it can work in others.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can do that. All right.
Okay. I'll let him know.
All
All
right,
right.
cool.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, you're welcome, my
And thank
sister.
you, Harrison. All right. Thank you, people in the chat.
Appreciate that. All right, sis. God
All right.
bless.
Bye-bye.
All right. I did promise you guys a scripture. I'm going to read it right now, and then we're going to close out. Okay. Popular scripture. We all know it. I've shared this on my channel dozens of times. Right, dozens of times. Ephesians 5:22 to 23 through 33. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is head of the church, his body, and is himself its savior. Now, as a church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit in everything to their husbands. And husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of the water with the word, so that he might present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle, or any such thing, that she might be holy and without blemish. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one has ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it. And just as Christ does the church, because we are members of his body. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This mystery is profound, and I'm saying that it refers to Christ and the church. And now listen to this. However, let each of you love his wife as himself. Love his wife as himself. And let the wife see that she respects her husband. At the core, at the very core of what men and women need in marriage is love and respect. Husbands, your wives need your love unconditionally. That protection, that love that protects, guides, provides, all that. And wives, your husband needs respect. At the core. I have a book here by Dr. Emerson Eggerichs, Love and Respect. Okay. The love she most desires and the respect he desperately needs. I read this book about 1.5 times. I'm like going through it again. I haven't picked up the book in a while, but this is a good book to get if you guys want to really delve deep into the love and respect aspect in a marriage and a relationship. All right. I'm going to end it right now. There she is in the chat. There she is in the chat. Thank you, sis. All right. I'm going to do this again. All right. Now it's time to close out. So, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you have not done so and you made it this far, hit the like button. I greatly appreciate it. It lets YouTube know that this is a video worth sharing. It'll share it out. And if you would like, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification next to it so that you'll be notified when I upload new videos, when I go live like I'm doing right now. And if you would like to support the channel financially, there's a couple of ways to do so. You can always hit us with a super chat. Thank you so much. No salt. Greatly appreciate your super chat today. And there was somebody else who gave a $3 super chat before, but it didn't tell me who it was. So if you're watching right now, if you gave me the $3 super chat, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. You rock. You can do super chats when we go live, all right? And we will also prioritize your comments. You can also support the channel by joining and becoming a channel member or joining our Patreon. Our Patreon is very dry. Like it's like, like it's dry. Like I got no patrons yet. What's up? Join the Patreon community. I will be giving you guys exclusive content. Okay, exclusive content. But you can go to patreon.com/Harrison Family Values and sign up for our Patreon there. And you can also do it really easy by clicking below the membership tab and become a channel member. Okay, you can also purchase merch. If you look below, we got merch. Yes, we got merch. You can buy Harrison Family Values merch, and that will go to support the channel as well. I hate asking for money. But that's why I like the whole merch thing, because I'm not asking you to support the channel. Like, you get something in return. We got mugs, hoodies, shirts. We got apparel for women, apparel for men. We got it all. We got it all, baby. So support the channel by picking up some merch. All right. And yeah, Chelsea purchased some merch a couple of weeks ago, like about a month ago. So thank you so much for your support. And Molly December got a couple of our merch as well. So thank you guys so much. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right. So I'm about to end the live stream right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until the next upload live stream, I'm out. Peace.